Dogs that fly through open doorways invariably get into trouble. They run down the street, they get into a scuffle with somebody, they might knock someone over, scare them. It's a really, really bad habit, and it's very demonstrative of poor training. And really, the dog is not showing any respect whatsoever. So we want to turn that around and have a much more cooperative approach to dealing with doorways, gates, openings, such as when we teach threshold manners, our goal is for the dogs that we work with to learn not to go through an open doorway or gate. So we don't want them to become dependent on us telling them not to go through. We want them to see the opening and wait for permission to go through. Very, very different things. The first scenario depends on us being there to get the desired result. The second scenario is where even if someone accidentally leaves a door or a gate open, the dog will not just disappear down the street. So the way we teach this is therefore not using a verbal command. This is not a command-based skill. Instead, we're going to use verbal like reminders in the teaching process. So we're going to say no or but way more relevant is we're using spatial pressure, which is body blocking. So if the dog moves toward the opening, as soon as we open the door, he just thinks he's going to, door dash, we're going to go and we're going to kind of block him physically with our knee or our body, whatever, depends on the size of the dog. We're going to do that consistently. Super important if you're working on this skill to remember that whether the dog's on a leash or not, going through the doorway requires permission from you. So a lot of times they'll practice it with the dog off leash and the dog will become relatively proficient. But as soon as they clip the leash on to go for a walk, they let the dog pull them through the door. Don't do that. We don't want that to happen. We want every time the dog has to be given permission. He has to be in a neutral position, so he's not leaning forward, he's not anticipating going out. And then he looks up at you and you say either yes or no, let's go, or you're not always going to give him permission. Sometimes you're simply going to shut the door. That's important in the training phase as well. Anticipation becomes a huge hindrance sometimes, and we don't want them to do that because otherwise they're going to start jumping the gun and just thinking to themselves, well, I know I'm going to be given permission, so I'm just going to go. Not cool. No. That defeats the purpose. So rule of thumb is, as you can see here, we're blocking the door. We're going to make sure the dog is neutral. His body is not leaning forward. He's not in that forward mindset. He looks up. Okay, let's go. So very, very basic, but a very, very important skill and something that requires a lot of reps. Bear in mind, one doorway and one outside view is going to seem very different for a dog from another outside view. So they're very situational learners. You have to practice this everywhere. So going in and out of like Petco, where the sliding glass doors open, some people's dogs pull them in or out. This is the same concept. Practice it. In an elevator, coming out of an elevator, you can imagine if you come out of an elevator, you don't know what's on the outside waiting for you. It could be a pack of dogs. So you need to make sure your dog is neutral, waits, that door opens, he sees what you get to see what's out there, and then you decide when he can move forward and exit the elevator. So practice the skill in different settings, but be consistent in your approach, meaning use the spatial pressure, keep the dog, the goal again is that neutral body position, no forward momentum, and you'll find that it works. The dogs pick up on this pretty quickly and it becomes a good habit. So everything is habits, pattern training. We're using these situations, varying them up as best as we can so that we can get to the point where you may open a door and there is some big trigger out there and the dog waits rather than just losing his mind and flying out. So give it a try and see how it works.